guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. Welcome to the video, guys. Today we're going to talk about my favorite uncommon champion in the game. Most people, I feel like, would say Armiger. Who's your favorite uncommon? Armiger. Who else even is there? Saurus. There's a few. But mine is Shieldguard. And we're going to compare him to GROHAK the BLOODIED. Now, let's start with GROHAK first. I have both these champions built with very, very similar stats. But GROHAK the BLOODIED just got a pretty substantial buff. Is he really good now? Is he still really bad? Is he now just average? Both these champions will be in lifesteal gear, which is when they're at their best outside of the arena. So let's talk about the changes to GROHAK the BLOODIED. On his A2, attacks all enemies. Each critical hit, fills his champion's turn meter by 20%. It used to be if they're under decreased speed debuffs. And it also used to be a 4-turn cooldown. So they reduced the cooldown to 3 turns, and then they got rid of that nasty decreased speed qualifier. That was trash garbage. I'm glad they removed that.
Is that a compliment? Nope.
A big buff, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it here on this A2. On the Lord of War as well, I believe, they add the Weaken to the Lord of War, which is a hard-hitting single target attack that fully depletes the target's turn meter. Actually, it does more than that. It steals the target's turn meter. His aura is speed in dungeons now by 24%, so a good aura as well. He also has a hard-hitting A1 with decreased speed. So definitely a solid champion. But as we said tons of times here on the channel, let's see what masteries. These are old masteries. We do have we have Flawless Execution on this champion. I would probably rather have him in Helm Smasher. This build is like from the day that I pulled this champion because I haven't used him since. In terms of masteries here, I have kind of an arena layout here. Minus the Helm Smasher, so I would definitely go with Helm Smasher. Otherwise, I think it's pretty solid. War Master, I would prefer, though, on this champion, certainly to Flawless Execution. We'll just keep it the way it is for today's video. So, how are we using him, first of all? Well, now he can hit pretty hard in the arena. I saw that a couple YouTubers out there, Murder Inc., I remember, had a video on the test build, on this test server or whatever, using him after the buff. If you want to see him in Platinum Tier Arena, he can deal out a lot of damage, but I feel like nukers for Platinum are a dime a dozen. And you really have to be bringing something absolutely special to the table. Is filling your turn meter enough to justify using him as your main kind of plat or gold 4 nuker? I think if you're just speed farming medals, I think it is. If you're pushing, I don't think I'll see a ton of GROHAK the BLOODIEDs at the end of the week on the final Platinum, arena push. But that's not why we're here to talk about this champion. It's really because, where can you use this champion? We're going to compare him to Shieldguard. There's actually several points to today's video, boys and girls.
I feel like I'm in the Highlander.
As I always, let me digress for a moment here. And by the way, crit damage on the gauntlets here, attack percentage on the chest, and speed on the boots. Accuracy, so he lands that turn meter, steals that turn meter on the A3, on the banner, and then crit damage on the amulet. We have Shieldguard, though. My man, Shieldguard. We've talked about this a lot on the channel, but sometimes, guys, you can get just as much of what you need from a champion without having to go with a legendary.
When a problem comes along, you must zip it. Zip it good.
That does not mean feed your legendaries, vault them, right? Don't never trash a legendary. But in this case, Shieldguard, to fully max out Shieldguard, if you're just gonna pay money to max out Shieldguard, you'd probably be paying, I don't know, 50 bucks maybe, $50. With GROHAK the BLOODIED, probably like $300 to $400. It costs a lot more. Shieldguard, that might be an over-exaggeration. It might be like $30. I don't know. It's cheap to upgrade uncommons. First of all, you can just use dupes, and Shieldguard is farmable in the campaign, right? Correct me if I'm wrong there. I think he is. He's in the Wastelands, right? With War Maiden. Now I'm gonna go check. Same build, crit damage, defense, because his damage is based off defense. Easier to keep alive compared to GROHAK. Has speed on the boots, and again, crit damage on the amulet, And we have the banner with defense, because he is a defense-based champion. Now, let me just go to make sure. I think I'm like 99% sure I'm correct, but I don't want to, I'm paranoid about getting stuff wrong here on the channel, right? All right, so Shieldguard is indeed farmable from the Dreadlands. I should have known that, man. All right, stage 9 on the campaign. So you can get everything you need from Shieldguard that you can from GROHAK the BLOODIED. And, GROHAK is a better champion, right? That A3 makes him really, really great. But what are we really using these champions for? First of all, we can use them for fast scrolls farming, right? So GROHAK the Bloodied, let's check him out here. Both these champions serve best with lifesteal gear. It synergizes beautifully with their AoEs that fills their turn meter. It's also going to keep them healed because they're going to be doing so much damage so quickly from that turn meter fill that they have in their kit that they're going to be able to also heal themselves in the process vis-a-vis the lifesteal gear. So awesome choice to go vamp gear on both these champions, guys. And what you can do is, like, overnight, you can just speed scroll farm with either of these champions. Actually, check that out, guys. GROHAK the Bloodied died. Well, that didn't happen on the test run in preparation for this video. But I'll tell you who will never die. It's gonna be Shieldguard. It's almost making my point. I'm not gonna cut that because, first of all, why would I cut something? I wanna give you guys a realistic thing of what's gonna happen, right? I did run that 2 or 3 times with GROHAK in preparation. He never died. But Shieldguard's not gonna die. And again, I'm not saying Shieldguard's better, but I'm saying Shieldguard's better if you factor in how easy it is to upgrade, right? Now, Shieldguard does not have that hard-hitting A3 Lord of War where he's stealing the turn meter. So how could he be better, Ash? Well, it's kind of weird because he's getting more heals off because he's not using that A3. He's dealing more damage on his AoEs, so his health is never going to get as low as GROHAK the Bloodied. So he's a better solo farmer, a more consistent solo farmer. Of course, if you just up the gear and go God tier on all of the gear on GROHAK the Bloodied, sure, he's going to get the job done. But with the same relative lifesteal gear, the same stats basically, hard to compare a defense and attack-based champion. That's another reason he's easier to keep alive. He has a bunch of defense, whereas GROHAK has a bunch of attack. And it's one of those things where I'm seeing a lot of people talk about GROHAK as being this great speed farmer now, but I'm thinking to myself, wait a second here, have you forgotten about Shieldguard? Shieldguard's better, arguably. He's not going to be as fast. Now, let me tell you, if we had run it with GROHAK and he didn't die there on that second wave, he would have been, with this build, somewhere between 1 minute and 1 minute and 20 seconds. That's how long the run was taking on my test runs. Whereas, Shieldguard's going to take a little bit longer, but you're not going to be wasting any of your precious resources, both building this champion and your energy, because you're going to have more consistent runs. He's a little bit better at keeping himself healed compared to GROHAK. Now, my test runs, with Shieldguard, or between 1 minute and 30 and 2 minutes was the longest, 1 minute and 58 seconds. So you can see here he's probably going to be right in that range. But again, man, I think this is a microcosm of this entire game in a nutshell. You don't need a bunch of champions.
Use Head & Shoulders Ultraman, designed for man strength scalp problems.
It's 1 minute 43, right? Shieldguard, and he stays alive, right? You don't need, to waste your resources and your time. And especially with these fusions, right? Especially with talking heads on YouTube like yours truly, I feel like there's this kind of, I don't know, this tacit pressure to always be going after the next fusion, always be going after the double time event. And sure, those are fun to do, and I enjoy doing those. I do those myself, so no apologies there. But we always must keep in the back of our mind that we can get a lot out of the champions that are given to us absolutely free inside this game. I've said it so many times when talking about my free-to-play account, but you don't need that, guys. You really don't. I'm not just saying this to like pander to you. I say this in full sincerity. So never feel pressured by a clanmate, by a YouTuber, by whatever, a screenshot on Reddit to, feel like you have to spend money on this game. You don't have.
Goodness of quality potatoes in a wavy cut, thicker.
I'm going to run these two champions together on stage 20 of Ice Golem, and you can see I'm only going to run a 4-man squad here. A decreased defense, decreased attack champion, Stag Knight, and then we just have a healer and an Urogrim just to help things move along a little bit faster. Actually, speed in all battles by 20. Wait a second, GROHAK speed and done is by 24. We'll put him in the lead. And let's see who does more damage. I think it's going to be GROHAK by a mile, but still it'd be fun to compare. Okay, I'm lying, I already ran this, and it's going to be pretty close. So I love a team like this. If you're lucky enough to have both these champions, or even one of these champions, just substitute another, support champion or a tanky defense-based nuker alongside Shieldguard if you don't have GROHAK, and it's going to allow you to farm Ice Golem, especially when there's a, super raids going on or a tournament going on. That's a beautiful time to farm the less popular dungeons like Ice Golem. Most people prefer Fire Knight, which, by the way, GROHAK is great in Fire Knight as well because of that stealing turn meter. But That's neither here nor there, but it's a great opportunity to also overnight again. If you're not going to be scroll farming with Shieldguard or GROHAK, you can go ahead and run a team like this. It's a really, really fast, considering it's, you know, 4-man team. It's a fast team. We're going to be healing ourselves with the lifesteal. We have another healer on the team. And the beautiful thing about it is it's going to allow you, just like we try to do in Dragon's Lair, it's a little bit easier with Uragrim, Tomb Lord champions like that. It's going to allow you to always be farming your food and being more efficient with your energy, right? Optimizing your energy usage in this game. So here we go. We're already at the Ice Golem. Not bad. It's not going to be the fastest run in the world, but it's going to be a consistent run. 100% win rate with this team. There's no revivers on this team. But we have heals, we have lifesteal gear, we have turn meter manipulation, we have everything that we need. A very, very efficient team, as I said earlier. There we go. That's his hard-hitting A3 again. It's, you know, let me end this video by asking you guys, what do you think about GROHAK the Bloodied now? Do you think he is a serviceable legendary champion, a very good legendary champion? I'll take him for a quick spin one time in the arena just to see what kind of damage he puts out. But honestly, it's, you know, I already talked about it a little bit at the top of the video. I think that for GROHAK, I'm a little skeptical that he actually does die there again. 2 times, man. It's like I planned it, just to kind of throw spite at GROHAK here, at the legendary champion, to further make my point. He's a little bit more difficult to keep alive, right? He doesn't have all that defense stacked up on him as Shieldguard does. And again, he did not die in any of my runs in preparation for today's video, but it's making my point. It's making my point, right? You can just rely on champions like Shieldguard to get the job done. And even in the arena, I mean, I think that I would rather have Genbo the Dishonored, who I did a guide on last week, by the way, if you guys missed that one. I was so impressed by that champion. And look at this damage, guys. 1.4 million to 1.4 million. And he stayed alive. Probably let him do a little bit more damage too, but still, guys, I mean, I hope my point is being made loud and clear. GROHAK, I think he is now a average legendary champ because of that A3. Stealing turn meter is valuable, and it gives him more valuable outside the, you know, the areas that we showed him in today's video, aka Fire Knight, as I mentioned. However, with that said, I don't think he's an OP champion, and he doesn't really do that much that Shieldguard doesn't do with the defense-based damage anyway, right? So let's go ahead and find a kind of tanky team right here in front of my face. Looks good. Let's just go ahead and put him on this team. Actually, let's put him on this team. Take Thylesia out of the team. By the way, she's a tremendous champion. Actually, let's leave her in the team. Take Genbo out the team. How about that? All right, so where are you? Thylesia, get back in there. You're being called upon. And then let's get GROHAK. Where are you? Right in front of my face. There we go. So let's see how we do here. Let's see how much damage he puts out. Is he going to be useful with this extra, you know, turn meter fill? Is that going to make up for the fact that he doesn't put out as much damage as, you know, some other popular nukers out there? And my gut is going to be no, but I could be wrong, right? All right, so here we go. Let's slow it down. Boom. So 50k damage, man. I'd much rather have Magnar. Sure. The cool thing is he goes right back into his Lord of War because he's almost filling his turn meter, right? So that's the cool thing. But you don't always have the luxury of getting back-to-back turns like that. You know, you could have Torments freezing you. You could have Valkyries cutting in line. You could have already full turn meters on the enemy team that were ready to go anyway. So there's a lot of factors there. I don't think he's going to end up being, you know, super popular in the arena, but I could be wrong, as I said. How do you feel about it? You know, did I make my point? Does that resonate with you? That you don't need the legendaries oftentimes. Consider building lesser rarity champions to serve a purpose before you consider the higher rarities. Just because they're legendary, obviously don't get rid of them, or even epic, don't get rid of them, but consider other champions that might be cheaper for you overall. So guys, we're going to wrap the video there. Thank you so much for watching. Big shout out to GFUEL, where you get 30% off. I have a boosted code right now. You can load up 30% off your entire order when you use code ASH. The link is in the description, below. Thank you for watching, guys, and as always, take care, guys.